Are you ready?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six. That could be a delivered this deep
six. The next stop is WrestleMania. Can you believe it?
I cannot believe it. That's it. 6 weeks away.
Joe, how you doing, man?
Wayne, I'm doing all right. I cannot complain, especially after a show like Elimination Chamber. It's good to. I always say it. Good to be a wrestling fan.
To those of you guys that are watching, my name is Wayne. I am host and owner of the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast, joined by Joe Aguilar, co-host. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Mine was extremely busy. I am battling a head cold right now, but we're gonna try to plow through this and touch on every point that we can. Shouldn't be too much of a long show, but we're going to get to the good stuff in just a moment. But for those of you guys that are watching, just do us a favor. Give us a like. If you're watching from your mobile device, it should be somewhere right towards the bottom of your screen or underneath the picture where a video is. Give us a like and then give us a share, subscribe, anything to help us out. We're also available on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio and more, wherever you can stream your podcast at the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast. So, Joe, what a night that we had last night.
Yeah, dude. I was texting you that I started the show about an hour and a half late. Just with the kids and whatnot, and I knew we were going to do the post show today. So I was like, all right, I can delay it if I needed to. And then I'm getting all the way up to the main event. Sami Zayn does his really long entrance, like good for him. And I'm sure we're going to get to it. And then all of a sudden the lights go down, the spotlights get into the ring. The announcer's about to, the new girl, she's about to, present the challenger. And all of a sudden, Peacock just ends my stream. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I go to the Peacock app, and I'm like, refreshing. I'm exiting. I'm refreshing. Finally, I get up to Elimination Chamber, and then it just says that replay will be available soon. Now, like, usually,
No.
I'm pretty sure, I know. I'm pretty sure it's like 10, 15 minutes after the show, like, it's on. But I was texting you. It was, like, close to midnight, and no replay. And I didn't have a replay until this morning. And I was like, I don't know what. I fell asleep, so I don't know at what time like the replay was. So when I texted you, I had no idea what happened in the finish. I didn't want to go on social media. I wanted to stay away from spoilers.
Yeah.
I just went to sleep. I woke up. The first thing I did was pop on the pay-per-view.
Nice.
So
I was out till 12 midnight, and then I had to leave the house again by 6:30 this morning.
Ugh.
Yeah. So I managed to avoid. I saw really quick that Oscar probably won, but I wasn't too sure at the time. But otherwise, I avoided most of the spoilers that Instagram, Facebook. I avoided everything. I told buddies not to text me any results. You probably got that text too. Yeah. So somehow I made it till 4:00 today, relatively unscathed and not knowing what happened. Had a general idea because we basically, we don't really deliver predictions at this point. We kind of deliver spoilers. So we kind of had it mapped out, and sure enough, everything kind of went the way, for the most part, the way we thought that it was going to go down. But Joe, we'll wait for some people to arrive in the room. But in the meantime, let's start from the beginning of the show. We had the Women's Elimination Chamber match. That match featured 6 women from Raw, and the winner of that will be facing Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. So that is our field that we have Carmella versus Nikki versus Natalia versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Asuka versus Liv Morgan. Joe, I'm gonna let you take it from here. What did you think of the match?
Well, it was unreal that they started out the show. Listen, first of all, I got to give a shout out to the Montreal crowd. The Montreal audience is always a fun audience to kind of like watch, and it's real interesting always to see like to kind of like because you do still have that kind of love-hate relationship between the corporate suits and Montreal audience, you know what I mean? But it's always good that when they are in Montreal, when they're anywhere in Canada, really, they really do let the Canadian wrestlers like have their homecoming, And we really felt that, I thought, with Natalia. Now, when I saw, and in the upcoming weeks building up to it, when I saw Natalia kind of give a little bit of a resurgence and with her presence and whatnot, I thought like, oh, I don't understand why, and now I do, because Montreal, like why not give her this homecoming? And the crowd ate it up, especially for that first match, And then interesting that she wasn't the last one to come out. It was Liv Morgan who came out after her. And also, I thought it was awesome that Liv Morgan, this is just a side tangent, but Liv Morgan wore denim on denim, which I believe is called a Canadian tuxedo. And so I thought I like that little Easter egg there. But yeah, so Liv Morgan and Natalia start off the match, leaving Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, Carmella, and Nikki Cross in the chambers, and they just went at it for the 3 minutes or however long. They just. I remember I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is starting, like the whole show is starting fast paced, brutal spots between Liv and Natalia. I wrote down some notes here. Brutal spots between Liv and Natalia. The women are here to freaking play. And this was even before the first pod opened, And then, of course, Nikki Cross comes out. Raquel Rodriguez comes out. And then I just overall thought like now we've seen over at this point, or am I wrong, just about 20 years of Elimination Chambers, right? And
yeah, I mean, the first Elimination Chamber match was
SummerSlam
2002 Survivor
2002.
Series, and I was there at that first one. Shawn Michaels won it.
Yeah. So okay, so you want to? I mean,
but yeah, so basically, like, as a pay-per-view, like you're looking at between 15 and 20 years now.
Right. And so it's insane that like we're living in a time where they can still be super creative with how they're structuring the storytelling across an Elimination Chamber match. And I really wanted to give a shout out to Nikki Cross for really, in my opinion, for the spots that she's doing, for the character that she's playing, this, like taking this, insane, character, crazy character, and really taking it to another level with how she has been doing it since failing to put the 24/7 title in the trash. Since then, just seeing Nikki Cross really like blossom into her own little character. She's doing a little typewriter thing in the air inside the pod and whatnot. But then when she comes out, she's doing so many crazy spots. I wrote down Nikki Cross is the hardcore queen we've needed, and I really do feel like she's doing a better job at that than what Liv Morgan has been trying to do the last couple of months. Like Liv Morgan's been doing a lot more, the stunts and like the tables and the backdrops, jumping off of crazy stuff. But I think that while she's doing a great job at it, I think that sort of offense just goes with Nikki Cross's character a lot better. And I think she's doing a better job at being a little bit more of that hardcore high spot, like lots of different like weapons and stuff. I think that Nikki Cross is better for that. And Liv Morgan, I mean, I think she's doing all right. I mean, she had a great showing yesterday. It took 2 submissions to get Liv Morgan eliminated. And even then, she didn't tap out. She just passed out. She could not compete, and the ref called it. And so I thought that was a nice touch as well. And then you move on to Carmella, who I thought played it off really smart, that she just locked herself in the chamber and she kept hopping from chamber to chamber. and I thought that was a really cool heel move, for her to be able to do. And not to mention thinking that strategy, and like every once in a while she'll pop out, give a super kick, and then she'll take some spots in herself as well. I don't know how much, if she was injured or anything, but it seems like they're trying to protect her, not giving her too much like physicality, it seems. But overall, I love the storytelling with her, just going from pod to pod, and then of course you have Raquel Rodriguez being the powerhouse. Um, being able to, I think she like ran Nikki Cross into the pod to break open the pod or something like that. Again, I think the mix of women that you had in that match, each one had a story to tell, and each one, I think, pretty much overall, I would say each one delivered. And again, this is just the start of the night. The crowd was hot, and it boils down to Carmella and Asuka, and we see that Asuka is now headed to Mania.
Do you feel
Overall,
that this is the right pick here?
For Bianca Belair, I think yes, because I want to see what Bianca Belair can do against a high caliber wrestler like Asuka, and just also giving Asuka her due. She was the first winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? She headlined WrestleMania,
and I think she lost that match.
But I think she lost it. Yes, I believe she did against I believe it was Charlotte.
Yes.
Yeah, and so there we go. You know what I mean? And it was just like one of those things where giving her due. You got to think about how Triple H views Asuka, and how when she got brought in, I believe that was that Takeover Brooklyn, and she was just watching in the crowd with Ric Flair. I'm like, I was at that show, and I was like, this girl's gonna be someone.
Yes, same here. I remember that. Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? I'm like, this girl's gonna be someone to watch. And then her NXT run, to this day, it's unprecedented that how dominant that she was. And then when she moved to the main roster, I was like, no, I agree with you, Asuka. No one's ready for you. And she I think kind of fell towards the wayside there. She got kind of caught up in the mid card on the women's side, with the Kabuki Pirates or whatever it was. And so it was just one of those things where, like, I wanted to see the monster of Asuka that we can see, and I think that we have been seeing it with this latest iteration of Asuka. And so heading into Mania, I'm optimistic for a physical matchup between Bianca Belair and Asuka. Now, do I think it's going to be something that, like, Bianca Belair, to her credit, main evented night one of the first live event wrestling show post-COVID, right? You got to really think of that. Like, she ended the night of night one of WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania where we had a live crowd again after COVID. Now, the last time I was on, we were on Royal Rumble. Who was I can't remember our other co-host, but
that was Joe.
Oh yeah, that's right, Joe. Yeah. Joe hated Bianca Belair, or hates Bianca Belair, right?
Hey, listen, and Bianca Belair is not everyone's cup of tea. I totally get it.
I completely understand that point of view too. And it's a testament to see that, like, I don't think that the way Bianca Belair has had her title run for the last several years, and even Bianca's story of losing the title and going from bare bottom to then winning the Royal Rumble to then winning it again, at SummerSlam. I'm sorry, at WrestleMania. Up until now, I don't think that women's title is going to be the main event of night one. I don't think, you know what I mean? I just think you got to think about it with that viewpoint. Like, just 2 years ago, it was so important. That title was so important that it ended night one. I don't think it's going to do that. There's just other sure, I think there's bigger stories to tell. But having said that, thinking that it's not going to end night one, I think that Belair versus Asuka will be a good, entertaining match. It's not going to end the night, but it's going to be added to the Mania card. and that'll be a cool story to tell. Like, oh yeah, these two had, I don't think they've really touched too much, really, right?
Yeah.
I don't
No,
really
they've basically been on the same side.
right. And so this is the time where we see them actually go at it one on one. It'll be a cool matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it has the potential to main event night one, but I think we have like other candidates that could main event night one, which we'll get to a little later.
And it's
But
not all
yeah,
Bianca Belair. It's not all on her. I just think
yeah,
that I think you said it even on the prediction show about how even something like the tag titles might be could be a night one contender,
or maybe even the other women's title match,
or the other
Charlotte
women.
versus Rhea.
Yeah, exactly. So
We predicted. Once we saw the whole field layout, we predicted pretty much Asuka was going to get this win here, because she is the more reliable pick out of that 6 to be in that spot at WrestleMania in a big time match.
yeah,
Now my dark horse was probably Raquel
yep. I could-
Rodriguez. She was my dark horse. She's gonna get her chance. So you have a whole nother year to build up between now and next WrestleMania. I would think sometime in between she'll have some title shots in her future for sure. Liv
What do you
Morgan.
think about what do you think about Raquel right now? I mean, I don't think she's all the way there. I mean, I think she's had a couple of title opportunities with Ronda Rousey,
Hey,
right?
listen. Sometimes it takes a good dance partner to really make you look
That's
shiny.
true.
She had some great matches with Ronda.
Yeah. And I think that with Raquel being in that role, that she's the big powerhouse, she played that role in the Elimination Chamber, and she did real well with it. It's not easy, and the fact that she is that standout physically in that roster, I think that they're positioning her to be that next person or someone in the near future, hopefully, to get those title opportunities. I just want to see her develop more than just I'm big and strong. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, more character development for sure, and then
yeah.
continue to work on that in ring.
What do you think about maybe potentially a heel run?
Um, I mean, it could happen. I mean, she's done some work with Dakota Kai on the NXT roster.
Yeah, right. She was like the
Um,
enforcer, kind of.
they both she did very well down there. I'm
I
not
just,
sure. I mean,
I predict something
sometimes
like
if
that to
sometimes a
happen.
good heel can once they change face, they get over even bigger than when before the first time they were face. Like just think of The Rock.
Yeah,
Like he
absolutely,
became
and that's
the
what I mean.
once he turned heel.
You
He,
know,
he was a jabroni at first. He turns heel and owns that character, and then just organically becomes the biggest face of the company for the next 3 years, basically from 2000 through all the way up to 2003. Then he worked heel with Stone Cold Steve Austin WrestleMania 19. So he had a good Rock had a good 2.5 to 3 year run. I mean, Nassau Coliseum SummerSlam 2002 kind of turned the Rock heel a little bit.
oh
He
yeah,
was definitely working heel on that, but yeah, sometimes you got to be a good heel to become an even better face. I mean, we've seen it a number of times.
that
Um,
was leather vest Rock. When he came out in the leather vest and the sunglasses, right?
yes, and he had his head shaved at that point.
Yep, yep. You love to hate him at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like his first heel run was better than his second
It
heel run.
definitely was,
Yeah.
and
He was doing a lot more silly stuff in his second heel run, losing to the Hurricane and what have you. It's crazy.
I love that you brought up The Rock, because that's exactly what I'm trying to get at with Raquel Rodriguez, where I think that right now she's in that Rocky Maivia type of phase where she's like this baby face, super strong, giving her all these crazy spots, and I think that that's great and all. But if I picture her getting to that next level of main eventing WrestleManias, of being the face of the company, I want to see more than just I'm pretty and big and strong, which I think is it is an amazing accomplishment to be able to do all of that, right? But at the same time, like, what's going to be that X factor that puts you to that next level, you know? And I think that Raquel Rodriguez right now, as is, with the roster that's there, is going to be facing a lot of, you know, well established characters who I think, like you said, with a great dance partner, is going to put on fabulous performances. And I think will continue to give us great spots, great highlights, great memories, you know, to look back on. But I just don't want her to get lost in the mix of just like, oh,
For
here's
sure.
someone who's going to have title opportunities, but you know, I want her to be more than that, you know.
The women's division needs some more standouts, and let me tell you, and NXT's got a couple standouts in the making right now, for
Yeah,
sure. And if something doesn't move here, we're going to see some more call ups. I mean, JC Jane, she's just doing amazing work down there. Gigi Dolan, love
yeah,
their characters.
yeah.
Um, you got some great athletes. Zoe Stark, I do something not really clicking personality character wise to me, to be honest, but she
With
is a
Zoe,
heck of a worker. Yeah.
yeah, you saw her at the Rumble.
Love
You know?
watching Zoe Stark. And you know, you got the NXT champion. She's doing some amazing stuff.
It's still
Um
Roxanne, right?
yep,
Roxanne,
still
yeah,
Roxanne. She's
yep.
only 20 years old. I mean,
Dude,
listen, WWE has got some talent that they will bring up if things don't change in that women's division for sure. And we're going to see
yeah.
that the night after WrestleMania. We'll probably, who was the women's NXT UK women's champion for the longest time? What's her name? I
Well, there was
forget.
Tony
It's been a
Storm. There
while.
was
Before that, Lee. What's her name? Gosh, it's gonna come back to me. But
I think there was Tony
she just
Storm,
had a
Rhea
name
Ripley.
change in NXT too. But she held that NXT UK title for about almost a year. At the same time, Walter. So many
Uh,
guys watching, if you guys know the name, feel free to comment because I'm drawing a blank right now.
yeah.
But she's a great talent. So NXT's got some good talent that they're going to be moving up to the main roster soon, immediately after WrestleMania for sure. Like the Raw and women's SmackDown women's division, they need some more work. They
Yeah,
need
and
some more
it's
work.
such an interesting
Like
class.
AEW, like women's WWE women's division is here. AEW is creeping,
I
creeping,
was gonna
creeping,
say
creeping,
it's
creeping,
such an
creeping.
interesting class of wrestlers that are gonna be inheriting, like where some of these women who were previously in WWE now in AEW helping that division. Not to say that that's what's helping, but like, oh my gosh, like the matches with recently with what's her face, Ruby Soho, it's brutal, dude. She's been like the hardcore spots with her,
Crazy.
crazy, like getting color real graphic, like, oh man. But and so like that's what we're competing with, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying, like, am I, as a wrestling fan, I mean, obviously we're in our, you know, 30s at this point, but like, am I going to be more wanting to watch Raquel Rodriguez happy to be here, very pretty, very tall, very strong, or am I going to see like Ruby Soho getting her face all messed up and all these spots and just like
There
crazy?
it is. Dave to the rescue. Kayla
Taylor
Ray.
Ray. Okay.
How can I forget? It's just this head cold that I'm dealing with.
Good looks,
That was
David Smith.
good call on that one. Thank you. But
But yeah,
moving
man,
on, like the women's division at AEW is like doing really well. But yeah,
exciting to watch. Exciting to watch.
it is. It is. You know, we've kind of seen a lot of like the same repetitive matches noticing recently,
Yeah.
so that's got to change a little bit. We just need new faces, you know, faces that are going to perform. Um, but anyway, moving on, we have Bobby Lashley versus Lesnar, and this is a very very interesting dynamic that we had going on here because both both these wrestlers were delivering their finishing moves. Bobby Lashley with spears, Lesnar with F5s, and both of them kicking out. And then we see Bobby Lashley with his whatever you want to call his finishing move, is that
Hurt
the
Lock.
Master Lock? the Hurt Lock. Thank you. With the Hurt Lock, you see Lesnar struggling, can't get out, and then in front of the referee, he doesn't even
Yeah.
try to hide it. Brock Lesnar lifts up his foot with the low blow on Bobby Lashley. Lesnar goes to town on Lash with the F5, and Lesnar gets disqualified from here. The Montreal crowd is sharing their displeasure. Here's the significance of that, though. So Lesnar leaves the ring walking tall. Bobby Lashley is down. He's out. Now, Bobby Lashley technically wins this match.
Yeah.
So, you know where I'm probably going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Lashley, if they're going by the script, Bray Wyatt says he was going for the winner of this match, and Bray Wyatt said to run whoever the winner is, and Bobby Lashley is officially the winner, technically. So, we could be seeing. I'm surprised we didn't even see Bray Wyatt last night. I guess they
Right.
kind of want to stretch
Yeah.
out the feud a little bit. But what are your thoughts on this, Joe? I mean, a potential Lashley versus Bray Wyatt. How do you feel about that?
So I was excited to see Lesnar and Lashley 3, right? And they booked it like the rubber match, right? And the way that I was looking at it, like, okay, this is where they're going to, wherever they are in this feud that I think we've been enjoying, right? Like these two physical specimens.
It's been okay.
I think it's like it's the typical picture of wrestling when you see two big meaty guys just nailing each other, right? And like, there's only so much that you can do with that, especially with both of their offenses the way that they really are together. I think that it's only going to do so much. But at the same time, it's been entertaining enough and high profile enough that I was surprised that they were going to end the feud here at Elimination Chamber and not stretch it to Mania. And then when I saw the non-finish, I was like, okay, yeah, they're going to stretch it out to Mania and maybe put in a stipulation of some kind, you know? But then as you were mentioning it, I'm like, oh yeah, Bray Wyatt called out both of them and said, whoever wins, you better run. And I'm like, but what's going to happen now? It's not a real finish. I mean, if you're going to go by the book, it's Lashley. If you're going to go by what happened, what we saw, Lesnar. Or are we going to see a triple threat, throw in a stipulation, throw in, maybe it'll be one of those cinematic Hollywood fights, and that's how they're going to end it,
Oh man, that very well could happen too.
and
There is a
throw in Bray
possibility of a
Wyatt
triple
there
threat.
and Uncle Howdy and do all that. I think it was awkward placing Bray Wyatt in the mix, but at the same time, if they're going to say, all right, traditional one-on-one's not going to work out, we'll do a stipulation. We'll make it a Mountain Dew Hollywood match. I don't know. Boulevard of Broken Dreams match. I don't know. Right? And then they're just going to make it a cinematic match. They could,
Wow.
Or at some point, you got to just end the feud so that Bobby Lashley can do his thing full time or do whatever he needs to do. Brock Lesnar's going to be come back to be a seasonal person that comes in and out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting dynamic. I don't know why I don't like the pairing of Bray Wyatt against either Lashley or Lesnar. I will, however, be interested in the mind games that we see there, but in a match, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. Also, you can take into consideration that Uncle Howdy's in the mix, and you never know, probably turn into like Bray Wyatt with the help of Uncle Howdy getting the win.
Yeah.
It doesn't really hurt Lesnar or Lashley to get a loss in this triple threat.
Right.
I think Bray Wyatt's got to get the win there. If it does go like that, I've heard rumors of Lesnar versus Gunther. Again, that's just rumors. That's what the IWC says. That remains to be seen. So Bray Wyatt could very well be going after Lashley on Monday night, and then we see Walter maybe issuing some kind of open challenge for WrestleMania, and then insert Lesnar. Lesnar could be walking away, so we'll have to see. I don't know. I can't think of any other way you set that up right now.
Yeah, yeah. Just time will tell, And I think bringing up Walter is interesting too because I would like to see something like high profile like that. I would hate to see a ladder match for the IC title. I think Walter, after Royal Rumble, has proven that he's a player that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He's going to be someone who's going to put butts in seats, And I think that given the chance, like with a Brock Lesnar, I think would just put him on the map. And even if he goes over, I think that something like that, however you want to set it up and issue an open challenge, or if you want to end the feud or even do like a Lashley Lesnar on a SmackDown winner gets Walter type of thing, like you could do something like that. Bray Wyatt causes Lashley the loss so that they can focus on that. Lesnar technically wins, gets to focus on Walter. I don't know. There's a number of ways you could do it, but bringing up Walter versus Lesnar, it raises the stakes and it solidifies the Gunther Royal Rumble performance as like something that deserves a high profile.
Notice that WWE now isn't really rushing the storylines, and we kind of saw that last night.
Yeah.
They're kind of they're building, they're gradually building. I like it, and that's kind of what happened with the main event. We'll talk more about that in a couple moments. But up next, we had Beth Phoenix and Edge versus Judgment Day. This has been an ongoing feud for the past almost year. Edge is basically going against the group that he was formerly the leader of, and then they turn on him, and it just makes no sense, but he's going against his own group that he created. But anyway, This has been a year-long feud. So those of you guys that are watching, feel free to comment and leave us your thoughts of Elimination Chamber. We'd love to talk with you to see how you guys feel about the pay-per-view and the road to WrestleMania that we're on. Next stop is WrestleMania. But anyhow, but yeah, this has been a long feud for the past like 9 months, let's just say. And I think it's coming close to an end. There's probably one more thing they can do with Edge versus Finn Balor.
A proper
one-on-one. Maybe do it in the cage to close off the feud. Some people suggested Demon.
Although it could be,
it doesn't hurt Edge to get the loss here by any means.
I would like to see a Demon instead of the red, have it all like Judgment Day purple. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool, like Judgment Day edition.
And that's that's
Hell in a Cell.
Hey, WWE merchandise. You know what I mean? Hell in a Cell. There you go. Hell in a Cell. Bring out a purple Demon.
A lot of people have been suggesting that it could go in this direction. But just a quick rundown on the match. But basically, towards the end, we saw dual power bombs with Beth Phoenix and Beth Phoenix powerbomb and Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley powerbomb and Edge.
That was a good highlight.
Yeah, and then the two of them square back
the
off
women
again.
In this match, I'm telling you, overall, like the women tonight really came to play, and it was so good to see. Especially like the women really took on a lot of the physicality in this match, particularly with Beth Phoenix. Like, wow, she has not lost a step. I think she, honestly, if she had a run, I think she could do quite well. She looked great, and the fact that she's not afraid to get physical with the men, Rhea Ripley not afraid to get physical with the men, as we saw, and like they really carried the physicality of the match overall, down to the fact that towards the finish, you see Finn Balor go for the coup de grace, and then in the background you see Beth Phoenix throw Dominic into the ropes, causing Finn Balor to fall. I thought it was the coolest, not funniest because it's Dominic, but also like Beth Phoenix is the one who throws Dominic into the ropes. It's awesome.
Dominic had major heat on him last night.
They
Nuclear
hated him.
heat.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to watch him like really come into
They
his
did
own.
not like ex-con Dom.
Prison Dom. Oh man.
We see Rhea. Rhea is the recipient of Beth Phoenix's glam slam. We see Edge spear Finn Balor, and then Beth and Edge both put the Shattered Machine on Finn Balor for the win. And as we expected, Edge and Beth Phoenix get the win here. So
Yeah.
together, as feuding together against Judgment Day, they got their one up finally. So they got their payoff as a duo. Now I could probably expect a one-on-one match at Hell, like maybe a Hell in a Cell match, some kind of cage match, just to close this out at WrestleMania, and then maybe do the Demon, have the Demon go over and make him look strong with Judgment Day going forward. Edge is retiring in Toronto this summer probably, and at that Raw. So
I think that for a mixed tag match, like I can't think of a better one that I've seen recently. You know what I mean? Just how physical it was, how it filled with spots it was, and because like your traditional mixed match, once the women gets tagged, the other woman comes in, and I liked how they kind of added in like you tagged in Beth Phoenix, but Finn still has to tag Rhea. You know what I mean? It's just like it's an interesting dynamic in a tag match where it was truly a lot more mixed than we saw. And I think I don't know. I think on the horizon, I want to say that there could be a future where Rhea Ripley gets into a ring with a male opponent and and like take some shots, or it could be something like maybe at Mania, finally Edge spears Rhea Ripley. I don't know, probably not because it's her night too, but still.
Arguably, more than likely, very debatable that the next match we're going to talk about was probably the match of the night. The men's Elimination Chamber match.
Dude.
Winner is the recipient of the U.S. title. Austin Theory defending his U.S. title against 5 other guys. Montez Ford, Damian Priest, Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano, and Seth Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins. And let me tell you, as Sheamus and Drew McIntyre would say, within this match, we saw banger after banger after banger. So what did you think?
You said it right, man. And it's it's such a crazy perspective. And we kind of touched on this before with, going down the history of the Elimination Chamber. But it was during the entrances that Michael Cole started fondly remembering the first ever, Elimination Chamber. And just the way that he was like putting it just made me feel extremely old. Like he was saying, it was over 20 years ago. HBK wins the world heavyweight title. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. It was like more than 20 years ago.
Don't say that. I was there.
I know. And it's just like, you're saying that, and then you're also saying Seth Rollins here has the most experience, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right, he really does, And besides Seth Rollins and Austin Theory, every other person, it was their first Elimination Chamber, and it's just like, I also do like how Corey Graves added that the last time Austin Theory was in an Elimination Chamber, Brock Lesnar was in an Elimination Chamber, and then when Austin Theory went on After the Bell with Corey Graves, he even talked about like, I can't believe I'm standing here with Brock Lesnar, and like it's like as a fan, I can't believe this is reality. Fast forward to now, and he gets the win right? And not only does he get the win, it was like after each one of these performers really went all out, gave everything they had. Props to all 6 of these guys. Like seriously, like it was one of my favorite Elimination Chamber matches that I can remember in the last however many years. I can remember quite vividly HBK in 2002. I can remember several ones after that, you know. But like this one in particular had so many memorable moments, and especially with building certain guys like Montez Ford, like Bronson Reed, like building them up so that we even as like casual fans, but we wrestling fans can start to see like this is the direction that we're heading in, and there are guys who are well equipped to inherit the keys to the kingdom in the next couple of years, you know? Like Bronson Reed was a standout for me, and I haven't seen too much of his work in NXT, but just him coming up to the main roster and making quick work of Dolph Ziggler, and then in the Elimination Chamber, like all that it took to get him to get eliminated. It was such well written storytelling. Like not one super kick, not 2 super kicks, 3 super kicks,
At
then
the same time,
all at the same time, and it's just like that was so cool to see.
Johnny Gargano and Seth Rollins had a great exchange to
Oh
open up
yeah,
the match. Like this match should give Johnny Gargano a bit of push, and we need to see Johnny Gargano with good dance partners like Seth Rollins
yep,
just to kind of get this guy over. I feel
yep.
like we haven't had enough of the Johnny wrestling that we know of in
That we
NXT.
know of, yeah, because
We we
we've
know
seen plenty of it,
we've
and
seen some of the
oh
greatest matches,
oh yeah,
period, in all WWE with Johnny Gargano when he went against what's
Tommaso
his name?
Ciampa,
Ciampa, but the other guy that's Andrade.
Andrade.
That was in
Oh, classic
Philadelphia.
Andrade.
Royal
Oh
Rumble
yeah,
weekend NXT Takeover.
yep.
Yeah, so we need to see more of what we saw with Johnny Gargano going forward. Austin Theory getting his butt kicked by Seth Rollins and Gargano was just something else.
Again
That was
with
amazing.
the storytelling with the chamber, right? You saw
Yeah.
Carmella kind of do that similar thing, like let me just like lock myself in the chamber, you know. And Austin Theory kind of did it, and I loved how like it was like a comedy, like oh you can't get me, and then he's like oh look behind you, Seth's behind you, and then they both get in, and then they both shut the doors, and it was Corey Graves called it what was it?
Telephone booth.
Yeah, Fight Club in a phone booth. Oh, that's awesome. And then you even see the glass fog up. It was good. It was good.
Austin Theory had some good shine too. Like he had some good
Yeah.
moments when he lifted up Bronson Reed onto his
Yeah.
shoulders.
Yeah. I
Man,
I thought we were gonna see another Rick Boogs, man.
I,
Not
I
good.
I hope not. That's a dangerous spot right there. But
Yeah.
Austin Theory
And the
got
fact
it.
that he was like struggling with it and then continued with it and then managed to even still allow him to get him in a way where he can still counter it, like that takes a lot to be able to do, you know? It's one thing to just throw him off of you and like, okay, he'll know how to land as a professional, but no, I need to throw him off of me and make sure that he can land and counter. It's a
And
lot.
How about Montez Ford climbing up the cage like Spider Man, kind of
Ooh,
like hanging down,
yeah, it's like a
and then
skinny
and then
cat
he gets that splash and falls down from the top of the cage onto
from the
5 other
heavens.
competitors.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
the crowd was eating that up, and we see Bronson was the first one out. He looked very strong in defeat for sure.
oh yeah,
Like I said, great performance by Johnny Gargano. He was eliminated by Damian Priest, Razor's Edge, Nuts, Scott Hall. Ford eliminates Priest with the blockbuster. So that was pretty cool there.
oh yeah,
So Ford got some shine with that lasting, almost the whole match.
yeah. But then Ford gets a stomp on the outside. It looked terrible, man. I don't know if I'm hoping that was a work, getting him out there like that, but he did not look good getting out of the cage.
I think that was a work.
Especially with the cage
Just
open, so
because I
that
saw
Logan
how
could fit.
Ford took the move, it looked like he was prepared for it. His
Yeah.
hands were there.
Well,
Ford is
he sold
excellent at
real well.
selling that stuff.
Yeah.
It would have looked a lot more serious. We would have seen X's go up. And we
Yeah.
would have seen a lot more concern on the faces of the
I
remaining
think
competitors if it was
with that
like
said,
that
I think
serious.
they did it the right way because it did seem like there was an awkward pause to the match. Because then once the trainers got Ford out of there, then the pace kind of really quickly caught back up, and you had Austin Theory versus Rollins. But then I thought it. You know what? It probably is a work because that's how they're gonna make sure that the door is open long enough for Logan Paul to come in, do his buckshot on Seth Rollins, which I think was an excellent move, and it just builds for
And
the main.
followed by the curb stomp.
Yeah,
Logan Paul
and
curb
followed up
stomp
with
Seth
the
Rollins right after that.
yeah, dude.
Tasting his own
I
medicine.
am loving the heel Logan Paul thing, and I think that he's gonna be one. He's gonna be someone who's going to be able to embrace the hate, and he does it all the time.
Yeah, Logan Paul makes a much better heel, as I think he's just kind of like that heel character in real life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's just organic for him to go that way. I
Yeah,
just don't. I don't really want to see it face Logan Paul,
no,
but not at the moment anyway.
no, and I
But
thought it was weird that it was like that with the Roman Reigns title shot, where it was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put on a performance because I can," I'm like, I, "That's all great, Logan Paul, but we all hate you, so just go with it." And I think he's doing real well. He's gonna do real well if that's the direction that he continues to go.
hey, listen, if he stays committed to this wrestling career, he's gonna have some career for sure. Right now, he's part time, so they're not gonna be too quick to slap a belt on him. That's for sure.
No, I don't think
But
so.
man, just think of his first 3 competitors that he's had in WWE. It's just absolutely absurd.
Yeah,
Absolutely absurd.
his
Um,
buckshot looks good.
what's that?
That buckshot lariat looks good.
I mean, everything Logan Paul does well at this point looks great.
Yeah.
But we are moving on to the main event. And let me tell you, that was something else. But for those of you guys that are watching, give this video a thumbs up, please. And feel free to share this out. We are officially on the road to WrestleMania with no more stops other than 6 Raws and 6 SmackDowns left to go before we get to LA. And let me tell you, Montreal was hot all night. Sami Zayn with the entrance. He had about like a 6-7 minute
Yeah, man.
ovation easily.
Oh yeah,
It was about 5 minutes after the bell rang. The
5
crowd's
minutes
still
after the
going.
bell. Yep.
Roman Reigns is getting nuclear heat from the crowd.
Oh yeah, the FU Roman
Hostile
right away.
environment.
Yeah, dude. The Montreal, and
was-
you got to think like this crowd has been warming up all night.
Yep.
Especially like being alive after that banger after banger elimination chamber match with the guys, and then also you had a hometown hero Edge get his win. Like it's you got to think like this crowd has been hungry for Sami Zayn, and then when that music goes and Sami Zayn isn't.
They were cheering Sami Zayn before even the first bell rang.
Oh my gosh, dude!
That crowd
And
was
then you
hot
see
all
Sami
night.
Zayn just play it real cool because he's just taking it all in. The Montreal Stadium, the place where it all happened, the Montreal Screwjob, all that, just taking it in, And then all of a sudden, that's when he starts getting real fired up, and the crowd just goes crazy. And then even at the post press conference, you see Sami Zayn even mention that like, oh, one of the Quebec historians here says that it was the longest ovation that stadium has ever had for a performer. Like right there, right then and there. And so it's like
I absolutely believe it.
Like, dude, like you are etching yourself in the history of Canadian professional wrestling, let alone professional wrestling as a whole. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you how much of a Sami Zayn fan I am. I walked out at my wedding reception. I walked out to his NXT Sami Zayn music. Worlds Apart is the title of the song. And so, like, when the DJ says, okay, and here's Mr. and Mrs. Aguila, like, I'm walking out to Sami Zayn's music, and, you know, everyone's, it's a party, everything's going. I'm like, no, but this, like, when Sami Zayn came out with that music on Friday, I had a legit pop. I was like, yes, here's the music. It's the classic Sami Zayn, and you hear the Canadian crowd just burst out in the song. You hear the song fade away. They're still singing. They're still doing their thing. It's just like, this guy is white hot over with the crowd. Like, put him on TV more. Give him the shot. Give him, you know, like, this is it. And I've known it for such a long time.
Let me tell you something. We talked about this on the prediction show last night. And had WWE's plan for Cody Rhodes to be in this main event, the writing's been on the wall basically since right around the time that Cody tore his pec.
Mm-hmm.
So right around there, the story was there. You know, comeback story, win the Rumble, go on, win the WrestleMania. We've seen it time and time again. So we've been calling this for months and months now. The other thing we also been calling, which we're not getting, was The Rock. Because it just made sense. Rock versus Roman LA. So I don't know if we get that at this point. Roman Reigns,
maybe an appearance, but
Roman Reigns and Bloodline might be fizzled out by this time next year. But who knows? But anyhow, yeah. So anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. But oh yeah. So WWE's been planning this for over 9 months now. Cody the guy.
Yeah.
Now, had Cody not been back in time, he wasn't supposed to be due back till late next month. Like, right. At that point, he was probably coming back till the night after Mania.
Night after Mania. I remember that we were like
trying recovery sped up.
Yep.
And long and behold, we get him the Royal Rumble. Now, had that not happened, had Cody still been out, I believe Sami Zayn would have been your Royal Rumble winner, going on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and Sami Zayn would get his moment to last until maybe SummerSlam or Survivor Series.
I think that's you know,
but WWE kind of booked themselves into a corner because
I agree. Exactly what I was going to say. They're booked into a corner right now, and Michael Cole coined it during the Rumble: finish the story. You know what I mean? And it's just like Cody Rhodes punches his ticket to WrestleMania, finish the story. You know, get the title. His dad never was able to achieve. Right? You know, and like all of it, the writing's on the wall. The story writes itself. We can, as fans, look forward to a predictable ending because it's going to be victorious, and we're going to love that moment no matter what, even if everyone in the world can predict it. Bless you. But I think that it's very similar to, or I think it's similar to the Daniel Bryan, right? How he wasn't supposed to main event WrestleMania that year, WrestleMania 30, right? But the WWE universe, the crowd, everyone all around the world would not stop. And the Yes movement carried Daniel Bryan into that, to be forced into the main event. Same thing happened with Kofi Mania, right? Wasn't supposed to be wasn't supposed to go for the title at WrestleMania. Wasn't even supposed to be in that elimination chamber until Mustafa Ali got the concussion, and then couldn't. And then that's when Kofi Mania happened. Like, and then they wrote him into.
Kofi got hot, and plus at that time they probably didn't have any solid plans yet.
No, exactly. They had Daniel Bryan with the recycle title, you know, and then
that was great.
I loved it. It was awesome, and then the match was great too. And then Kofi had his title run. but then, and now you fast forward to now, where again you have Cody Rhodes. Most wrestling fans, I would argue, most wrestling fans are going to be excited to see Cody Rhodes finish the story of WrestleMania, because I still predict that that's what's going to happen.
It's
But
going to be a huge moment. Like
yeah,
if
and that's going to be what ends night one,
if
night
Cody
two,
doesn't
night
win,
two.
I
Gonna
think
be,
that's going to be night two. Cody Roman is going to be night two for sure.
yeah, and I
That's
think
ended
that
WrestleMania. Confetti everywhere. Book it.
how are you going to take away from that by adding someone? And again, I think completely deserving. Sami Zayn completely deserving of a main event slot. And it's one of those things where like he is white hot, most over that I've ever seen someone like with the audience, with the crowd behind him like this. Like, how are you not gonna put him somewhere in that main event picture? Now, do we do the tried and true triple threat match for the title? You know what I mean? I could see it, and still have Roman Reigns not be pinned at that point, and have the titles, have Sammy take the loss, and you know what I mean, and do it that way. I don't know. But like, how many times is Roman Reigns going to wrestle in a triple threat match for the titles? How many times are we going to see that? I just don't know how. I just don't know how to fit Sami Zayn. He's white hot. I don't know how they're going to fit it in there.
Um, this match was pretty well done.
But the match itself
The
tonight,
teased finishes.
it.
Sami Zayn looked
great.
strong in this match. He had the home crowd behind him.
Yeah, man.
WWE did a great job of making you believe that there's a possibility here for a title change.
Oh,
Excellent job there.
all of the false finishes in this
Love
one.
the false finishes. Triple H and Paul Heyman did a great job booking this. Now let's fast forward a little bit. Now we see Jimmy Uso come in. This is where things start to take a turn. Super kicking Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is out cold. Referees are down. And then we eventually see Jay come in and kind of like put a stop to it, getting in between. Roman has a chair at the time, and we see Jay getting in between Sammy and Roman. And then Roman's like going off on Jay, and he even started getting physical there.
I had chills watching this, man, because it was the parallel to the end of Royal Rumble with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn doing the same loyalty test. Only this time we don't get the payoff, right? We don't see Jey Uso decisively make a decision.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to a little bit earlier on, saying that WWE is going to kind of drag out some of these stories a little bit more.
Super smart. I loved it. I loved the
right to this week. I think we'll see where the loyalty of Jay is.
Yeah, man, and there's still time between now and Mania for Sami Zayn to again, and I think this is again something that we even during the Royal Rumble coverage that we predicted that we could see the Kevin Owens and Sammy versus the Usos for the titles, and I think that's still going to be as white hot as Sami Zayn is. I think that that's going to be a more appropriate spot to put the spotlight on those tag titles. Yeah,
hey, listen, let me tell you something. This is not a bad spot. The Usos have carried these belts for pushing 2 years.
Yeah, dude.
Nobody's beaten them in a title match.
Yeah, and
so this is not a bad spot.
Going to be for Sami Zayn to pin Jey Uso for the titles is going to be cathartic. Like that's your storytelling there, and that's how you give Sami Zayn a WrestleMania moment with his best friend carrying both of those the unified champions. The unified tag champions, and like you're essentially giving them the highway to become and to like really lead the tag division and put it in a way where his very good friends in AEW are doing wonders with the tag titles and doing wonders with the tag division. Like you can be doing that same thing here with WWE. We just need some teams, right? What's better than Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens being able to carry them that way? Not against anything with the Usos. I love the Usos as a tag team, but the division overall, I think, could mimic how good the tag division has been in AEW and other in other companies.
Well, the WWE tag team division's gotten a little better. It's just in the sense that we're seeing more tag teams present on both brands rather than just 3 tag teams. Period.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like we're seeing 8 to 10 tag teams uh like every week. And so it's gotten better in that way. And I mean, they just had a tag tournament on SmackDown, not too long ago. So there's more of an importance there, and it can only get better.
yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's not a bad spot to be in. Being that over, he would be doing wonders for the division overall. And I think that's the direction that they should go. But at the
It's
same time,
exactly where they're gonna go. And I mean,
I
this
still
has
want to
been
see.
rumored. It's been talked about since SummerSlam. Like
Yeah,
on our podcast, we've been talking about it since summer that it's probably gonna be Kevin Owens and Sammy versus Usos at WrestleMania. We've been talking about this for 6 months now, but now it's just been it's been kind of like even Stephen Wonder can see this coming from a mile
yeah,
away.
yeah, man. It's always good to see, though, and the ovation that Kevin Owens got when he came in for his run in, I thought was great. Overall, I think that like the writing of that, the way that
You
the
saw
whole
Kevin
thing,
Owens and Sami Zayn looking at each other, and Kevin took a quick glance at the WrestleMania sign.
yep, and honestly, like what a what a professional to know that you leave the ring, give Sami Zayn the ring to end the night, and like
Yeah,
that's respect to be able to know that you did what you did, doing the run in. Everyone's happy to see you. You do the stunners. Everyone's great. You do the stunner with Paul Heyman, and then you do your business and you give Sami Zayn the ring. You give him that chance to say goodbye to his Montreal crowd. Oh
yeah.
man, that was, and then yes, you get the glance at the WrestleMania sign. Um, we know that this is going in that direction, as you so eloquently said. Stevie Wonder could see it a mile away, and so I think
I
that's
mean, we've seen a lot of this
yeah,
stuff.
man.
I mean, we thought Reigns possibly was going to drop it to Drew or somebody at the castle
I
because
remember.
it was in England. It was so we thought that as a possibility. Um, but listen, if Roman doesn't drop the title at WrestleMania, I don't know when he's gonna drop this thing. It could be for somebody like a Braun Breaker or a
Yeah,
Gunther or somebody. Let's just say, but I think the direction they're going in, I think we could all safely predict that Cody will be winning at Mania, and I think we could eventually see a Cody versus Sami Zayn program down the line, maybe SummerSlam.
yeah.
There's
I could
probably
see SummerSlam. I could
yeah,
see, a Night of
but
Champions or something like
I'm
that. I don't think
telling you
that.
right now, we're gonna see Gunther versus Cody, and I think Gunther's gonna take the belt off Cody.
Oh wow, I'd love
Yeah,
to see that.
give it time to build up. They teased it like I liked what I saw between Cody and Gunther at the Royal Rumble.
Me too.
Absolutely loved it, and I'm like, man, this has got main event written all over it. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
It was
got
the last
Gunther
two, and it
and
felt like a
Cody.
fresh match.
What's that?
In the Royal Rumble, it came down to the last two, and it felt like a fresh match. It,
Yeah,
it was great, and that's saying something about Gunther lasting over an hour and then putting on a match with Cody Rhodes. Oh
yeah.
man, it's it's no telling where the direction of WWE is going to go from here. Um, but like I said, man, I think that overall, as over as Sami Zayn is, it's got to be Cody Rhodes, man. It's Cody Rhodes' time to finish the story. If the last several years has taught us nothing, it's not. It's at least to take advantage while you can. If you have the opportunity to tell this story and it's been told in such a way now that you got to give him that moment, especially in the grandest stage of them all. And hey, that's where we're headed, right? We're headed to the grandest stage of them all. It's going to be one of the most historic WrestleManias, in my opinion. Continuously, bless you. Blanket statement, bless you. But I overall, Elimination Chamber 2023, I think is going to be one that I will definitely remember. I hate to say, unlike some of the past Elimination Chamber pay-per-views, this one's definitely one to remember for sure.
A lot of us were kind of hoping for that um that moment that Eddie Guerrero got against Brock
Yeah.
Lesnar by Eddie winning the title and um,
Was it
the
No Way
Cow
Out?
Palace in San Francisco, California.
Yeah.
I think that was No Way Out 2004, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yep.
Um, um, so we were all hoping for that moment, but there's no surprise that it went this way because it's
Yeah.
just the writing's been on the wall all this time. But we are going to wrap up this show. For those of you guys that are watching, thank you so much. Make sure you hit the like button, share with your friends. Make sure they're subscribed. But definitely hit that like button. That helps us out a lot to get us that exposure on YouTube. Um, we will be back with episode 104 next week. So that will definitely be happening. And to those of you guys that are watching, Joe, thank you so much for hopping on. Those of you guys that are watching, thank you so much for being with us on this Sunday evening. I can't believe Monday's here already. And by how I feel right now, I am not ready for Monday. So I got to take care of this and get off the air
Yeah, man.
ASAP. But thank you guys so much. And you all have an awesome night. We are on the road to WrestleMania. 6 more weeks to go. Can't wait. Catch you guys next week.